A lot of talk about the need for bipartisanship in the Congress. What in your past and your present experiences enable you to work with people from the other side of the aisle?
Bipartisan cooperation. I'll quote a great Democrat. Thomas Jefferson said that every difference of opinion is not a difference of principle. I found that I can work with people who may have different opinions than I on some issues, but we can find some common ground to achieve a goal that represents the people that hired us. I've also found that I can work within that system and still hold fast to my conservative principles. There are some things I'm not going to compromise on. I'm not going to compromise on life. I'm not going to compromise on borrowing my grandchildren's money. But within the framework of some other areas, I do think our nation is looking for men and women who are willing to put aside partisan differences to solve the problems that we face as a people.
There is a lot of partisanship. It's a big problem in Washington today, Robert. But it simply reflects the divide in America. It's not because people just can't be friends. There's vast ideological differences about what America should be about. I think so far in the interview you see some of mine. I think we've gotten away from the founders' ideas about what government's all about. There are some other people in the country that think it should be the way it's going. We should continue down the road to socialism, basically. Abraham Lincoln said that a house divided against itself can't stand. Now that wasn't original to President Lincoln. Jesus Christ is the one that said it. That is absolute truth. A house divided against itself can't stand. As a nation, we are going to have to decide what path we're going to go down. We can't go down two paths at one time. We can't go down a path of socialism. It's always failed every nation that tried it. I don't think we should do that. We need to go down the path of the founders. A path, again, of freedom, a path of God-centered, limited constitutional government. To decide which way the nation's going to go, we're going to have another, basically, political revolution in the country, just like 1776. We had men that stepped forward, and they made some pretty bold statements there. They said that we're free, and we're not free because the king has made us free, or our fellow men, or some state somewhere. We're free because the Lord God Almighty has given us our freedom. That was pretty revolutionary at the time. They were willing to die to make this statement, to die for freedom. I believe in 2010 and 2011 we need to have another revolution like that. We need to have this one in the U.S. Congress. We need to have a fight to decide what kind of country we are going to be. If we don't have this fight, Robert, I believe we're going to lose the country that we thought we were going to have. We're going to lose this country of limited constitutional government. With that said, and of course a fight is not bipartisanship, but we have to make this determination. This is our last chance, I believe, to do it in the elections of 2010 and 2012. Now, with all of that said, of course, there may be some things that we can work together. There may be some people on the other side that can get together with us, and we can do some things. And certainly we want to do that if there is some common ground in all of this. But we can't compromise our principles anymore. For years and years now, the conservatives went to Congress and they would compromise, but they compromised to the left. Only during the period of Ronald Reagan did I think that the compromises went back to the right. During the period the freshman class came in 1994, they were elected from 95 basically to 2001. I think there was some compromises to the right then. We became frugal. Clinton gets a lot of credit for a really good economy, but that was an economy where we had for the first time in over almost 50 years, we had a Republican Congress. And they were really serious about spending restraints and doing some other conservative things. We're going to have that kind of fight. We're going to have to stick to our principles. But then again, we can compromise where there is ground to do it. And to change the atmosphere, there's a basic rule that would help things a lot. You follow the rule that the Lord gave us, the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you would treat people the way you want to be treated, certainly the atmosphere would improve in the Congress in the United States.
I've had to, as a political strategist and a small business owner. It's just not Republican, it's just not Democrat. And our forefathers meant for us to work together. but we haven't seen true bipartisanship. We really need new leadership in Washington, D.C., where people can work together. As I said earlier, I worked when Newt Gingrich was Speaker of the House, where we had a Democrat administration that worked with a Republican Congress. We balanced the budget. It was a wonderful time for America. And working on Capitol Hill, I've had to work on both sides because bills are just not passed by Democrats alone or Republicans alone. So I believe that there can be bipartisanship, but we've got to stop looking at Republican versus Democrat, and two, people whipping votes. People need to vote their conscience and vote what their constituents want. But a lot of times when people go to Washington, D.C., and it's a very seductive town, it is. I mean, you have a lot of things that's tempting there. You have to be able to go there and represent your constituency and stand strong. And the only way that you can do that is hold town hall meetings and have your people accessible to you where you can talk to them one-on-one. Not hold virtual town hall meetings, but hold town hall meetings. After you are clear on your mission of what your people want you to do, you go to Washington, D.C., and you caucus. You sit down and you talk to each other, and you don't have to give like the Louisiana Purchase or the Cornhuskers deal to make things happen. There's this process called a Dear Colleague letter, where if I'm introducing a bill, I have my legislative aide go around and ask other members to sign on to that. This is something that's important to my state. I'll come back to you later and help you with your state. We'll do that process together.